All right, I know it's going to be a good day in the shop for Willie because he's a Mopar fan. Welcome to Two Guys Garage. Here she is.
Yeah, man, she's fine as a frog hair, too. All right, it's a 2012 Challenger. 5.7 under the hood, put about 375, 410 down. But a little mushy in the corners. So we're going to stiffen it up, beefing it up. The first thing we need to do, test drive it.
There she goes. Now she's broken free.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Fishing.
Okay.
Not bad, man.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
You know, they do have a lot of get up. The problem with these cars, man, they're heavy.
Oh, man. They got a lot of weight.
Yeah, man. They're big bottom girls, man. And they put, you know, well over 4,000 pounds down on the scales. These things, you know, come in around 4,000 and change, 4,300, 4,400.
That's a big change, man.
God,
that's
man,
a lot of change, you know, with 4,000.
It is, man. And you feel that in a lot of the suspension, a lot of the way the car handles, you know. It's a bigger wheelbase, it's a wider stance, which is kind of cool. Inherently, they look a lot like those, you know, those 70 Challengers I like.
Yeah. And you know what, on top of that, this thing's just too quiet. You know, we gotta get some sound coming out of it, too.
I'm cruising right now about 2,200 RPM, running about 34 miles an hour, and you can't even hear the car run.
No.
Barely. So
That's wrong.
that is so wrong because it's got a fire-breathing Hemi in it, right? You want to be able to hear that thing breathe. So that's something we're going to have to address. A couple other things I did notice on the car, however. See that?
Wait, what's going on with that light, man? I see the traction control off light. Now,
that's
that's
good.
a good thing.
That's good.
Good job. Good job, man.
All right.
Yeah.
We have a fuel light on, which means we should probably get gas at some point.
Yeah.
And right beside of it is this nasty check engine light. Hate
I
those
didn't
things.
do that.
I think that happened. Well, that was already done. That
It
already
must have been like that for a while.
we got it like that. So I think what we do now is, well, we have some fun, feeling how it is now, like a before and after picture, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we get her back to the shop in a minute after a little joyride, see if we can't, I don't know, dial it in just a little bit more and maybe diagnose that check engine light.
I think we got a plan, man.
All right, so we got back to the shop in our big 2012 Challenger, had some fun out there, did some chirpy tires, some smoky burnouts, cool stuff.
Not as much fun as we're going to have after we get our RideTech LX coilover system in.
Yeah, man, you talk about a drastic improvement on both the quality and handling performance side of it. RideTech has you covered over, say, something from the guys in the factory. This actual kit allows you to drop it 2 to 3 inches. When you lower that center of gravity down, you get a lot less of that whole pivot, you know, from side to side.
Now let's show you how we're doing it with the RideTech. So first of all, they use high quality Fox shocks. Yep, and then Hyperco springs, so it's a great combination.
Yes.
And then all the hardware that comes with it, there's no modifications to the vehicle.
No.
It's essentially all bolt-in.
Yeah, exactly. Bolt-in, no fab work, nothing real difficult. And you can see, it's gonna go right up in here like so.
Yeah, now this is a true double A-arm front and rear suspension, and that's a real coilover setup.
Yeah.
And what's cool about a coilover, one, it puts the spring and the shock kind of combined, so the coil is over the shock. But you also have an adjuster down here, and this will actually change the spring position and the ride height of the vehicle. So we can lower and raise the vehicle and balance the corner weight so each tire is putting the same pressure to the ground.
As you can see what I'm doing right here, you see on the assembled one, we just pick the height. Usually you want to adjust that down here. Now the spring is going to ride on that. And like he said, you got that adjustability. So when I set this right about 3/4 of the way down, I can come back, drop the Hyperco spring right on it like so. Next thing you know, you have, and make sure you have the little plastic shims in here too, all right? Slide this over the top.
And you got a cool little wrench that'll grab this guy and you can adjust it when it's in the car, right?
Yes. Then your locking mechanism here, you have your ring, simple, slides over that. Then you go back to the cap, and next thing you know, man, you got yourself a strut, basically a nice little coilover.
Yeah, the only other thing we got to do is actually get it in the car. So let's start pulling this all apart, get these all assembled. Next thing you know, man, we're going to be slamming on that ground, ready to hug some corners.
Can't wait. go, man.
A
Look
little
at you
side
go.
by side, right on, bring it on. Cool. Well, you had a coilover to begin with,
Sure.
and you're replacing it with a better coilover.
Amen.
I had a coil near shock.
Yes. It's kind of
Almost the
awesome.
same thing, except we get the ride height adjustment,
Exactly.
and we don't get the cool spring and shock that we got here.
Exactly. And again, you can see the difference. The monotube shock, right, and the adjustability factor here, which allows us 2 to 3 inches of travel on the front. So big upgrade just in performance, handling, and so forth you get with this Ride Tech. Loving this. I'm going to get this bolted into the front. You, my man, can handle the back. Here, that's a gift. You could wear it as a necklace or something.
I'm going to take that home with me.
Yeah, man, all yours.
Yeah, now the cool thing about the monotube is it is the high performance version of a shock versus the twin tube, which is what the system normally comes with on this vehicle. So you're going to get a good separation of kind of the oil and the typically nitrogen gas, so you don't get frothing. So again, man, it's just going to make the performance level on this thing go through the roof. So let's see if we can get it all installed, and we're going to take a break. When we come back, remember we had that light come on. We got to put a little diagnostic trouble code on it and see what we got, so stick around.
Dim or burnt-out halogen headlights can be a safety problem for many drivers. Even if you only have one burnt-out headlight, it's always best to replace both headlights at the same time so they have matching intensity. Choose a value-added bulb like the Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania. The Silver Star Ultra is designed as the farthest down-road headlight from Sylvania, also improving clarity and contrast when driving at night. Best of all, it won't create glare that blinds oncoming traffic. Installation is easy. Just remember to always handle halogen headlights by the base because touching the bulb can cause premature burnout. Once you've replaced your headlights, use a headlight restoration kit on dirty or cloudy lenses to restore their original clarity, giving you better visibility farther down the road. This tech tip is brought to you by Sylvania, for everything ahead of you.
Gang, welcome back to Two Guys Garage under our 2012 Challenger. So we took this little girl for a test drive and she talked to us. They actually pulled a DTC code, a diagnostic trouble code, right? That check engine light. What? No, you don't put a tape on it. You actually find out what the problem is. So we pulled it in there, hooked up our scanner to it, and it actually gave us a code, a P0131. If you could read my hand, that would tell us that it's a lean condition, first bank, first sensor. Now, as we did some digging, which you're going to see in a second, it actually told us that it was the O2 sensor. But I want to show you something about the O2 sensor. These things are really awesome, incredible stuff, and ours from AC Delco, talking fit, form, and function, exactly like you're going to get from the OE manufacturers. Now, you know AC Delco for being basically GM, but their coverage is about 97% of the cars on the road, so not just GM. Now, let's talk about this particular sensor. This is a switching O2 sensor. So basically, when this element, right, it's sitting there in the exhaust of the car. When this thing reaches about 600 degrees, it turns on, really. It becomes basically a battery that sends a low voltage signal to the ECM. Now, the ECM is going to interpret that into data. It's trying to reach that 14.7 stoichiometric ratio, air-fuel ratio, which Kevin is baking you a stoichiometric cake over there. He'll get into that in just a second. I want to explain to you how we actually tested this little thing. It's pretty neat. So we tapped into the wire harness using one of these cool little tap gauges right there, okay? And we read it with our voltmeter. Now, about 200 millivolts is the floor. About 900 millivolts is the ceiling. And you want a mean of about 450, 500. So I said it's signal. It goes lean, rich, lean, rich, lean, rich. And you try to get that nice mean. Well, that mean is where you 14.7 ratio, that stoichiometric cake that Kevin's building, that's where you want it. So we injected some propane into our lean condition, and it didn't do anything. Normally it's gonna shut off and bounce back up and down. No reaction, nothing happening. That tells me the sensor is bad. Great way to test it. Kevin's gonna get into it. And a side note, whenever you get into the wiring harness, the ECM, always have some liquid tape there so you can cover up that little hole that you pierce it with. That way you don't have to worry about corrosion and so forth. All right, now my man's Kevin, getting busy.
Now, Willie talked about switching and on and off, and I like to think of the PCM as kind of a blind person driving on a big parking lot. You know, they're not quite sure where they're headed, right? They got inputs, but where am I? Well, if you were to set up a guardrail on either side, right, they could kind of bounce off one, then kind of turn, bounce off the other, and back and forth, but essentially, they're kind of going in a straight line. And that's a little bit about what the O2 sensor is doing. Now, if I look at what's happening from the signal out, right, if I was to sweep my air-fuel ratio from rich to lean, I can go pretty flat line, so I'm not getting any difference in signal. Then it drops pretty fast and then I'm down here. So I have a very narrow window that happens so quickly, I don't get much out of it except kind of like an on or off or a high-low, rich or lean. Now, if I kind of come over here and think about PCM strategy, what the PCM is actually doing, it's driving into one guardrail, then the other, and back and forth, and it's kind of hugging this mean line or this median, kind of like Willie talked about. So it's going lean and it's going rich and back and forth. Now, what's happening when you go into the lean mode is you got an extra oxygen or so, and the catalytic converter can absorb it. And then when you go back into rich, you've got free hydrocarbons or fuel. Now the catalytic converter can release that, pair them together, burn it, make H2O and CO2, which are clean gases. Well, what we saw is, when we measured, we were floating somewhere down in here, so we were down in the lean condition. Well, it could be the sensor or it could be something broken. So by adding a bunch of propane or hydrocarbons, it should have driven this up very, very quickly, but it didn't move. So we know that adding the fuel didn't make the sensor do what it should, and that's how we kind of diagnosed that it was a sensor. So getting a brand like AC Delco for your specific vehicle, make sure you have the right sensor for the calibration of your vehicle, so again, you get the best fuel economy and emissions, and especially you could get in a condition where you actually damage expensive parts. So an inexpensive item like an O2, way easier and cheaper to do than something else. So anyway, hope that wasn't too much O2 talk, but we're gonna take a break. When we come back, more Challenger.
Now we all know it, today's vehicles are getting much more complicated, which means the tools and expertise required to work on them is getting more complicated as well. A lot of us like to take care of our vehicles in our own home garage, but with newer vehicles, this is becoming harder and harder to do. And it's not just because of the high-tech electronics replacing the simpler mechanics of earlier models. Automakers are using different materials and under the hood configurations to make cars lighter and more efficient. But sometimes this means even the simplest of tasks, like changing a headlight, can turn into a much more complicated job. This means some repairs just have to be taken to a shop that has the right equipment and training for the job. But finding the right knowledge and resources for a shop isn't always that easy. This is where Federated can really help you with the Federated Car Care program. You see, local shop owners who are members of this program get the benefits of a big national company while still operating as an independently owned shop. So this means that car owners can find trusted, independent shops that's backed up by Federated quality parts, professional service, and up-to-date training as new technology develops in the automotive industry. Federated offers roadside assistance and an extended warranty program for their car care centers, which means better peace of mind for the customers if they encounter a problem on the road. Find out which of your local shops are Federated Car Care Centers. And if you're a shop owner, check out what Federated can do for you. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, welcome back. And we've got all the old exhaust off our Challenger here, and we went to SLP for their Performance Challenger exhaust system. And what's cool about it, it's modular, and we pick the loud version.
Yeah, man, because that's how we do it, the loud version. And what he means by modular is you could actually, trade out this section and change performance and sound. But like he said, we went, well, for the straight through, baby. We like it loud.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's really going to sound good.
Here's the deal, man. Our Challenger with the brand new exhaust on it, ready to put some heat to it, throw a little fire in it.
I'm ready to light this
Listen
dude.
to the sound.
Oh, already?
Right?
Already I'm liking this Mopar a little better. Ready?
Yeah.
Whoa! All right, I'm ready to go drive it.
Yeah,
I'm ready to
right?
go drive it. Yeah, this is cool. This is definitely cool.
As my friends like to say, dang!
Yeah.
That thing's loud, a little lippy.
That's right, man. Well, we got our SLP exhaust on. Obviously, it sounds
pretty darn cool.
Yeah, man.
So we're gonna have to get it for a little wick around the block. But we're gonna take a break. We got one more little goodie upgrade when we come back. Stick around.
Dude, I like it. Crack it again.
When it comes to safety and durability, it's important to use parts that are designed to OE specifications by a manufacturer with a reputation for quality. Nowhere is this truer than when it comes to replacing chassis components. ZF provides the solution, a complete Lemforder chassis system manufactured to OE specifications. An OE quality part like this Lemforder control arm is designed to resist braking on impact. This means that in a car accident, the control arm will bend but not break. If the control arm breaks, the car loses its connection point between the chassis and the wheel. Using parts made from OE materials ensures that even in dangerous incidents, your vehicle performs like it should to help keep you safe behind the wheel. Whether you need an entire chassis system replacement or just a single part like a control arm or ball joint, ZF has the components you need for essentially every make of vehicle on the road today, and they're all manufactured to the same OE quality and specifications. Increase your vehicle's safety and durability by choosing Lemforder OE technology from ZF. This tech tip is brought to you by ZF.
All right, from our friends at TechSmart, it's the overrunning alternator pulley. Now, this is a great solution where you can just replace the pulley, not the entire alternator.
Oh yeah, now a lot of you probably don't know that from the factory, the OEs, on some applications, they have a one-way clutch on the pulley.
Right. And so, why is that?
Well, you spin the engine up for whatever speed, and when you go to drop the speed of the engine, that alternator has a lot of mass, and it wants to keep spinning. So it'll overspin and chirp on the belt. You get a lot of complaints. So it's a great solution for solving that problem from the factory, but it's another thing you got to fix.
Yeah, man, and it's a great indicator too when you have those noise complaints. And even times they'll stop charging when they really go bad. And a good indication of finding out whether that alternator pulley is bad is to spin that belt. If it goes in both directions, it's time to replace it. Now it's from TechSmart. It's their overrunning alternator pulley available at Federated Auto Parts.
All right, all you classic and vintage guys from Coker Tire, it's the American classic bias look, but radial tire.
Yeah, man, bias look is important because when you do take a look at it, obviously the white wall, you put this on anything, I don't care if it's 4 different colors, rusty, no bumpers, this is gonna make it look awesome. Now check this out, you get the pie crust shoulder, the vintage tread design, so it looks like an old school bias ply tire. However, you get all the performance you need out of a radial.
Absolutely. Now, and you got specific applications they fit right on, whether it's old Corvette, Thunderbird, Cadillac, you name it, or different sizes for what you're rolling.
Man. You know, 13-inch rims, 13-inch tires, tough to come by now. But you want that classic look if you're keeping it, you know, original or rat rod. 14, 15-inch rims, they have it all available.
Yeah, so check it out. SEMA, Best Product Award winner right here, and many more options at Coker Tire.
All right, from Original Parts Group, you guys that own a 70 through 72 Buick Skylark GS, come on in, we got something great for you. Rocker panels, man, you couldn't find these before. And these are always in the area of your car to get road debris coming off the tire. You get chips, cracks, you got all kinds of sludge, debris, tar, sometimes paint. These things get abused.
Oh yeah, now these moldings, they're gonna set your car off. I mean, look at the shine on these stainless steel, right off of, you know, NOS, factory kind of tool parts, so you know it's gonna fit right. It's polished up, so it looks fantastic.
Yeah, man. And like you said, all the original tooling they use to make these. So it's gonna be absolutely fit, finished, top notch, all the brackets, braces there as well. It's from Original Parts Group. It is their rocker panel moldings.
Guys, huge time saver. I mean, can't even state the magnitude of it. AMK products, it's their master kit. It's all the fasteners you need for any category of your vehicle.
Man. You think about it, body, engine, interior, entire chassis, every nut, bolt, brace, bracket, it's all there. It's all labeled. It is meticulously done. We love it. It's an extraordinary time saver. I mean, this thing helps you exponentially.
Yeah, and the details in the fasteners is incredible. So you look at this fastener and you go, where does that go? Well, there's a label. It tells you what it is, where it goes, the manufacturer group number, maybe even the page of the assembly manual.
And you can buy individual fasteners. You can check out their website, get all the details, but it is great stuff, awesome time saver. It's from AMK, it's their Master Kit series.
Oh man, concourse quality stuff right here. Now, let's shift gears. Speaking of shifting gears.
I got it. Shotgun, I'm driving.
We're going for a ride.
Yeah, we'll put that Challenger to the test. See you in a second. Seriously, I'm driving.
No, man.
Mopar, I'm driving.
Forget it.
Hey, welcome back to Two Guys Garage. Still in our 2012 Challenger, but man, it's feeling, sounding a lot better. Now we just got to handle the junk in the trunk. And there's no better guy to do that than my man Kevin Bird.
What is that supposed to mean?
Junk in the trunk?
Oh, all right. Well, we got a nice little upgrade for the back here. This is from WeatherTech.
Yeah,
It's their
man.
cargo liner. And what's fantastic about it is,
Look at
the
this.
fit. It'll just slide right in. It's custom made for each vehicle. Yeah, man.
Love that, man. I absolutely love it. It's from WeatherTech, right? So you know you're getting made in America. You know you're getting top quality parts. Even the floor of it, right? It's kind of rigid. So the cargo that you put in there, whether it's car parts or whatever, won't slide around. You have this nice lip, right? So that's going to contain any fluids. And they're custom fit for any application. So it's not like a one-size-fits-all square mat you just drop in there. They use lasers and get exact fit.
man.
So it's super tight, super sweet.
Yeah, look at that, dude. Hugs right around in there, and you know, I'm always throwing around my dirty car parts. Now, our buddy here, he's got his sandy beach gear. He might have a hairy
Yeah.
dog in the back of your SUV. So, anyway, really cool, simple upgrade. But you know what?
What's
Speaking
that?
of upgrades, we got a lot of testing to do, man.
Yes,
we got
we
a lot
do.
of upgrades to go.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so
Well-
it's time to go for a drive and see how this whole package comes together. All right, with everything buttoned up, all the suspension, we're slamming on the ground.
Yeah,
man,
we
the
are,
exhaust coming through. We got our trouble code out. What are you
Nice.
thinking, dude? You're the one over there on that side of the wheel.
Man, I think it's time to do a couple more A, B, and C burnouts, baby. You guys have fun. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Two Guys Garage.
Yeah.
Two Guys Garage is brought to you in part by Federated Auto Parts. Best parts, best people, best service. Vehicle transportation provided by Pilot Transport, auto hauling specialists.